Welcome back, friends. In the golden sands of ancient Egypt, a child was born who would one day be remembered as the greatest pharaoh of them all. His name was Ramses II. A boy raised in the shadow of power, trained for greatness, and destined to rule Egypt for more than 6 decades. This is the story of how a young prince became Ramses the Great. Royal birth and childhood. Ramses was born around 1303 B.C., the son of Pharaoh Seti I and Queen Tuya. From the very beginning, his life was shaped by royalty. Surrounded by wealth, grandeur, and the mighty temples of Egypt, the young prince quickly learned that he was not an ordinary child. It's believed that his birth was foretold by a star, perhaps a comet or an unusually bright planet, which appeared in the sky that night, leading many to believe that this child was destined for great things. The exact location of his birth is uncertain, possibly in the royal palace at Thebes or in the nearby city of Akhmim. But wherever it was, the news of a royal heir spread like wildfire across Egypt. The people rejoiced, for a new king meant prosperity and security for their land. For Ramses, his early years were filled with the comforts of the royal court, the luxury of palaces, and the devotion of a loving family. His mother, Queen Tuya, is said to have been especially close to him, instilling in him the values of compassion and justice. Under her guidance, Ramses learned about the rich culture of Egypt, its arts, literature, and the stories of their glorious past. But it wasn't just about living a life of privilege. Even as a young child, he was aware of the responsibilities that came with being the son of the pharaoh. He watched his father lead the empire with wisdom and strength, and he knew that one day those same qualities would be expected of him. Pharaoh Seti I recognized the boy's potential. He ensured Ramses was trained in the art of war, governance, and diplomacy from a young age. The boy grew up watching his father command armies and oversee massive building projects, experiences that would shape his destiny. As a young boy, Ramses was often present during his father's audience with officials, diplomats, and visiting dignitaries. While he couldn't understand the complexities of adult conversation, he listened intently to the exchange, absorbing the nuances of etiquette, protocol, and statecraft. He watched his father negotiate peace deals, settle disputes, and make decisions that affected the entire empire. By listening, observing, and asking questions, young Ramses began to grasp the weight of the role he was preparing for. Early military training. Ramses' military training didn't start with weapons and battle tactics, but with horsemanship. Horses were not just mounts for the Egyptian army, they were a symbol of power and control. At the age of 5 or 6, under the watchful eye of elite horsemasters, Ramses learned to ride, starting with small ponies and progressing to sturdier steeds. He learned to groom the horses, understand their nature, and communicate with them through subtle cues. This early introduction to horses instilled in Ramses a deep respect for these magnificent animals and laid the foundation for his future military career. Once comfortable on horseback, Ramses' training shifted to archery. He learned to shoot with bows and arrows, first at stationary targets, then at moving ones, eventually graduating to shooting from horseback. His instructors, veterans of countless battles, taught him the importance of focus, precision, and the psychological aspect of combat. As Ramses grew older, his training intensified. He learned to wield a variety of weapons, including the khopesh, a curved Egyptian sword, the sheathed dagger, and the staff. He trained with soldiers, learning hand-to-hand combat, defense strategies, and the logistics of war. Throughout this rigorous training, Ramses didn't just learn skills, he was also inculcated with the values of courage, discipline, and unwavering commitment to his duty as a pharaoh. At just 10 years old, Ramses was given command of a small army, a remarkable responsibility for a child. He led soldiers in mock battles, issuing commands, observing strategies, and learning from both victories and defeats. These exercises not only honed his military skills, but also developed his leadership abilities. As word of Ramses' prowess spread, neighboring rulers began to take notice. They sent emissaries to test the young commander, hoping to catch Egypt off guard. But they soon realized that Ramses, though young, was a formidable opponent. He won every engagement, impressing even his own advisors with his strategic brilliance. But Ramses' military education wasn't confined to the battlefield. He studied ancient texts detailing Egypt's military victories. Learning about legendary commanders and their strategies, he analyzed maps, understanding the terrain of neighboring lands and potential invasion routes. Most importantly, he learned about logistics, supply lines, and the importance of intelligence gathering. By the time he took the throne, Ramses was not just a skilled warrior, he was a brilliant strategist and tactician, ready to defend and expand his empire. Path to the throne. Pharaoh Seti I saw Ramses as the heir to his throne. He wanted to ensure that the pharaoh after him would be strong, wise, and respected. So, he began to prepare Ramses for the throne well before his father's death. One of the ways he did this was by giving Ramses important tasks and allowing him to make decisions. He didn't treat Ramses like a child, but as a future king. For example, he allowed Ramses to oversee construction projects, manage temples, and even deal with some diplomatic missions. By doing this, he was teaching Ramses how to be a good pharaoh. Ramses took his responsibilities seriously and worked hard to make his father and the people of Egypt proud. He showed that he was smart, fair, and had the ability to lead. This made people respect him and gave them confidence in his ability to rule. Pharaoh Seti I also made sure that Ramses got the best education possible. He hired the smartest teachers in Egypt to teach Ramses everything he needed to know to be a good pharaoh. Ramses learned about religion, law, medicine, science, and much more. He was also tutored in the art of war, learning about military strategy and tactics from the best generals in Egypt. By the time Ramses was old enough to rule, he was well educated and prepared for the challenges that came with being a pharaoh. He named Ramses Prince Regent, granting him authority over temples, building projects, and religious ceremonies. This was not just preparation, it was power in action. Ramses became a symbol of stability for Egypt, standing beside his father in official ceremonies, learning to rule long before he wore the crown. Becoming pharaoh when Seti I passed away, Ramses ascended the throne. He was only in his early 20s, but his training and upbringing had prepared him for this moment. The boy prince was now the pharaoh of Egypt, ruler of the Nile, guardian of the gods, and leader of a powerful empire. However, the road to the throne wasn't without its challenges. There were those within the royal court who believed that Ramses, at such a young age, was not yet ready to rule. They saw his youth as a weakness they could exploit, aiming to control the kingdom in his place. Ramses, aware of these threats, wasted no time in consolidating his power. He swiftly dealt with potential rivals, firmly establishing his authority and sending a clear message to those who opposed him. Once the internal affairs of Egypt were secure, Ramses turned his attention to the external threats to his empire. He knew that to protect his people, he would need to be a strong and capable warrior. Yet even in the face of these challenges, Ramses remained resolute. With the support of his mother and other loyal advisors, he confronted each obstacle head-on, proving his mettle and determination. Through it all, Ramses displayed courage, intelligence, and a strategic mindset that belied his years. He negotiated with foreign rulers, forming alliances and averting potential conflicts. He also demonstrated a deep understanding of the complexities of governing a vast empire, balancing the needs of his people, the demands of his position, and the expectations of his ancestors. Despite the trials he faced, Ramses never faltered. He ruled with wisdom and fairness, earning the respect and admiration of his subjects. His early years on the throne were marked by prosperity, stability, and expansion, setting the stage for his legendary reign. His rise to power, though meteoric, was not without its challenges. But Ramses, with his strategic acumen and youthful vigor, navigated these obstacles, emerging as a powerful and respected ruler. His reign was just beginning, and the world was about to witness the rise of Ramses the Great. Ramses II had risen from prince to pharaoh. But his greatest tests were still to come, battles that would define his legacy and monuments that would carve his name into eternity. In Part 2, we'll uncover the epic Battle of Kadesh and Ramses' rise as the warrior pharaoh. Don't miss out. Subscribe to Pharaoh Kings and stay tuned for more updates. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us on this journey through the life of Ramses the Great. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We've got more thrilling tales of ancient civilizations and historical epics waiting for you. Your support means the world to us. So hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and let's continue exploring history together. Until next time, keep learning and stay curious.